It's one thing to capture an image that is correctly exposed, but how much light is too much, or how much light isn't enough? This image has a mid-exposure. Notice the wide range of shades, tones and colours. Also notice that each subject is easy to see. This image is underexposed. It certainly adds a sombre and mysterious mood, but we can't see all the tones and colours as clearly as before. This image is overexposed. It evokes a light and airy mood, but again, we can't see all the tones and colours as clearly as with the mid-exposure. This idea, that is, how exposure affects an image, can be thought of as a simple curve.
The characteristic curve is a graph which measures the film's response, a given film stock's response to light. As you're looking at the characteristic curve, it has three sections. The toe section represents the dark part of the curve. The straight line section in the middle is known as the gamma, and that is the usable exposure range of the film stock. And the shoulder at the top is where the film loses its ability to respond to bright tonal differences. And so small differences in exposure will all be exposed as white.
You certainly don't need a curve to tell you how to get the correct exposure, but thinking about a curve can help get across the idea that there are limitations to the amount of light a film stock can capture.
The terms over and underexposure are confusing ones because they're often used to denote a mistake. If the film's overexposed, it's a mistake. Now, when we're using the term in that way, overexposure refers to detail that we wanted to capture being up in that shoulder area of the curve and being unretrievable. Or when we're talking about underexposure in that way in terms of a fault, it's when detail that we wanted to see down in the shadow area is lost into the darkness and is unretrievable by normal film printing. In fact, though, over and underexposure are terms that can denote the tonal areas below a mid-exposure and above a mid-exposure. And as such, they're really useful creative tools.
Here's the story of middle grey with a mid-exposure. Changing the exposure introduces a whole new range of shades and tones. Some of these might be darker than a mid-tone. Some of these might be lighter than a mid-tone. It's up to you what you do with these shades and tones.